Hey everybody, we're back with another comic book spoiler review. I check out my review that I did recently of Spider-Man India. You guys will love it. Please check it out. Uh, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. I'm covering a good portion of the Spider-Man Spider-Verse stuff, and most of it is like a good 4 to 5 issue adventure, with maybe like three comics being a good 20 or so issues that I'll probably cover at the last tip before I cover the first Spider Verse story. Well, once all that's wrapped up, I'm going to head right into this, X-Men related content. But anyway, uh, now we went from the universe of Spider-Man India. Now we're in the universe of manga Spider-Man or anime Spider-Man. And as I'm reading through this, you know, you get very watched Naruto. You get a lot of Naruto vibes from this, honestly. And I just want more of this world. I think it's probably like my favorite universe to visit in the Marvel cinematic, not cinematic, but the Marvel comic book universe. I think this one, like, I love the art here. It's very reminiscent to a lot of manga if you read a significant amount of manga. But, I want to say but it's just, you look at the art, it's very blocky, almost rectangularly in a lot of ways. It's just the way it's like typically, drawn. It's a lot of like blocky rectangular shapes. Uh, you know, uh, if you catch my drift. Now, uh, Manga Spider-Man, or this particular adventure, Legend of the Spider Clan, the writer is Carrie Andrews, artist Scotty Young. And in this universe, Peter Parker, which in this version, since he's almost very ninja-esque, this particular Peter Parker has no qualms taking out bad guys. You can easily argue this is more self-defense stuff. He doesn't outright kill, but it's like, he doesn't shy away from, he's not hung up on taking a life. It's just like, he just doesn't do it as an offensive, aggressive behavior. It's more so like, I'm going to defend myself. More than likely, try not to take a life. But if I have to, which in a lot of stuff he does, and I was like, wow, like, because I read like a one-off stuff. This is kind of a prelude to this adventure, and man, it looks so much fun. Because as a lover of anime, I'm digging this a lot. So, the way the one-off kind of sets up, this universe of Spider-Man, his he was, it's very kind of like, very Japanese-esque. He's raised in this clan that, kind of like is, if you look at it like the Lin Kuei in Mortal Kombat, and they got their own like belief systems and hierarchies and everything like that, or even like the League of Shadows, which there's a lot of ninjas involved in this, so you can very much take inference to League of Shadows or the Foot Clan from the Ninja Turtles. It's a lot of that kind of reminiscent to those kind of things. Uh, Peter Parker here has was raised in the Spider Clan, and the a leader was his Uncle Ben, or he calls him Uncle Ben Sensei. And and then of course you got his Aunt May. So they very much Japanese aesthetics, and of course this Peter can fight. I mean, it's like if Peter was raised in Kung Lun in martial arts, he actually knows how to fight. Uh, which is kind of like a new change of pace because, like, more often than not, Peter Parker can fight, but it's not like highly trained skills. It's more so almost like at best wrestling type of moves. But as far as like home technique, this is probably the one Spider-Man variant that I can think of that actually knows how to not just brawl. No, he can fight with like some serious finesse. Uh, and he actually got he doesn't actually have like organic type of webbing or even web shooters. He actually got these kind of grappling things that at the ends has like just like kind of like metal disc with like hooks on the side. They kind of reminiscent to like his spider tracers, and he used them as like like Batman with the grappling hooks, and that's how he swings around. Uh, and instead of being able to crawl on walls, he actually got these almost like Muay Thai type of wrappings with. You ever look up the history of like ninjas and everything like that in order for them to like crawl on side of buildings and whatnot with quietness and finesse. You got these little hooks on the palm area where you can just crawl and get around. So slight differences here and there. His Uncle Ben got killed by this rival ninja group called the Shadow Clan, which is led by this universe's Venom. Which in this universe, Venom, being an actual person, not like Eddie Brock, he is the son of Aunt May and Uncle Ben. And we'll get further into how he became who he is a little bit later. But, it comes like a total shock to Peter later on, obviously. But this version of Venom killed Uncle Ben, and Peter still early on in his training. He's not like fully trained, but the entire clan and Uncle Ben gets wiped out. Now it's only Aunt May and Peter left, and she doesn't want him getting further involved anymore because he could easily have gone and gotten killed. But he donned the mask and continued on training and doing his superhero stuff, using the skills that he was taught by Uncle Ben in order to fight crime and stop the Shadow Clan and Venom in the process, but hopefully without Aunt May's knowing. So one night while he's out, stopping these ninjas from attacking this universe's Felicia Hardy, who obviously she'll be kind of like a black cat, but very ninja-esque black cat. But she's, because Peter here still in high school, Felicia here, you can argue she is like first year college student, and I kind of like her in this. I love the art in this, but I think Felicia Hardy's design in this is probably my favorite design of hers. I think she, this variant is probably like my favorite one, probably second to her original 616 universe counterpart. But obviously, she got this whole punk rock thing going on. I'm loving the hell out of that. And Peter, thinking that she's one's about to be mugged, he's like, "Don't worry, miss, stand by me." And then, of course, she, she just got to be a total edgelord about it. She gets the pipe and just, you know, because she can easily take on these, ninjas, but she has no uh, care for this supposed superhero. So she, just takes a metal pipe and clonks him on the head. And of course, in this uh, universe, anytime, like not all the time, very so often when Peter is asleep, he has these visions of his Uncle Ben coming to him to give him sage advice and everything like that. But this also causes him to wake up in like in wake up shouting, which this often disturbs his classmates because somebody is always happens to be in class when this happens. Um, and of course, they got this version of Doc Ock who's very minuscule, almost like half the size of Peter here. And of course, he's super obsessed with octopi in this, but you never see him turn into Dr. Octopus here. And Uncle Ben is trying to teach him about like why did you let this girl hit you? And he's trying to teach him about his spider sense because still early on in his training, and he needs to be able to hone that skill. So he has him blindfolded, and he starts, he asks him like, "Do you know what I have in my hand?" And Peter's like, "A stick." All right, very good. And you know what I'm going to do with it? And Peter's like, please, are you going to hit me with that stick? Please let me with that stick. And of course, he proceeds to hit him with a stick. And he asks, Peter, why would you let me hit with your stick? Why I let you I told you not to stick. The point being is that you know what I have. You obviously know what I'm going to do with it. You should be able to avert it. Essentially, he's trying to hone his tap into his spider sense, or at least this universe's variation of the thing. And of course, he wakes up violently on the school bus, and Doc Ock introduces Felicia Hardy, who's like a transfer student to the school, and they're on their way to a field trip to one of Oscorp's facilities that's being plan on renovations and all this other stuff, and they come in here to do cleanup, but also learn about science and everything like that. And well, not one of Oscorp's places, but there's this thing, this location where this universe's Osborn is trying to look for this amulet that's buried. And of course, that's why Felicia's here. She's on her own little mission trying to find this amulet. And she's partnered up with Peter, so she has to tag along. He has to tag along with her while she's trying to do that. And of course, in the process, he gets busted by Norman and Ock and has to leave. And Felicia has his backpack that has his spider gear in it. So he can't easily go back and get it. Now, while this is going on, we get the introduction of this universe's Daredevil, but he's called Devil Hunter in this. And he's on his own personal crusade because Venom or Ball, who leads the Shadow Clan, killed his girlfriend Elektra years ago. Don't know how that correlates to him being blind, or he just always been blind in this universe as well, just like in the main universe. Well, not always blind, but Matt Murdock, been blind when he was in his early teens. And in this one, it is never explained how or when he gotten blind, and he's also bald in this because you don't see in a flashback he has his iconic red hair, but he's completely bald in present day. And of course, you gotta have a ninja-esque costume for Devil Hunter. That's taking to getting some used to. Then Felicia shows up at Peter's house, tries to return the bag, but then has Peter give her chase, and then she eventually stops, and then plants a kiss on him, which kind of stuns Peter because obviously, wow, you got a hot, slightly older girl giving you this type of affection, but it's all interrupted by the interference of Devil Hunter, who proceeds because he has stuff billy clubs. He almost got like miniature size. They got a specific name. It's definitely a ninja-esque tool, but it's chained together, and he uses one of them to cleave Felicia in half and cut a nick Peter across the cheek in the process. But Felicia, before that happens, gave the amulet that she located to Peter, kind of for safekeeping. But that drop of blood kind of hit the amulet and it activated, and there was a hidden venom symbiote suit inside that wrapped around Peter, and he's very quickly consumed. Excuse me. Of course, you know how it goes with these symbiote suits. They feed off aggression, and of course, everybody's laughing at Peter for freaking out. Flash made some offhanded remark, which you know, really, sparked a temper flare up with Peter, and he just immediately decks Flash. And it's like, I love the drawing because it's almost like a teenage Timmy Turner a little bit, and it's like, the art. Now I'm thinking about it, almost reminds me of Invader Zim almost. They kind of the angles of the facial features, very Invader Zim ish. So in the process of you learn a little bit about like Daredevil's backstory. I'm glad they still keep the whole prayer motif with like the Catholicism. He's like praying, and he obviously misses Elektra, and that's his like overall motivation to why he's going so hard after this amulet, because everybody's after this amulet. It's almost like the same thing with the Spider-Man India, where this amulet contains some piece of a venom symbiote suit, and the difference being in this comic run, they bring it up fairly quickly. They don't be around bush with it. So now, at the same time, Felicia is getting like fixed up in this kind of like bathtub tank kind of situation, and she'll eventually be like, will have some robotic stuff attached to her that keeps her essentially alive, but it's all under thanks from excuse me, this mysterious benefactor who uh, tells Felicia that uh, he wants this he wants this amulet, and he doesn't get it by a certain time, then her robotics that's implanted in her would automatically shut off, and she'll essentially just be dead. So Peter goes out, tries to do his daily hero stuff, uh, but as he go home trying to rest up, Ame comes in, tries to make sure he has like a nice hot tea and uh, some soup because he was, he's burning up and everything. She's starting to get concerned, and then she takes notice to the amulet, and she obviously recognizes the amulet. As she tries to touch it, Peter just like immediately backhands her, like just like I'm surprised he even held back, cause he like she spat up a little bit of blood, but man, he could have easily taken her head off, you know, if that's just like a unrestrained slap. And he tried to quickly apologize as a melee, but uh, uh, she decides like, okay, this is getting serious because she knows what that amulet is. Uh, so she enlists the help of Matt Murdock because she found out that he has some kind of experience with this kind of stuff. But he warns her that like, depending on how long he's been bonded to that symbiote, I'll do my best, but I'm going to have to put down your own kid, or at least the kid you're looking after, which of course doesn't sit well with May. So she decides to take matters in her own hands and show up later as some kind of white ninja. And you know, I wouldn't say she doesn't have any add to the overall help, but uh, she is uh, like useless. You find out it's Aunt May. I'm not going to bury the lead here, and like she does some stuff, but overall, it's like you kind of shoot it's like you got like a mandate. It's like you can't just have Aunt May sit on the sideline. She has to do something. Personally, I think it's kind of weak sauce, and you don't really need Aunt May in all this. Aside from the initial uh, immediate call to action uh, type of stuff. Of course, then Peter eventually uh, eventually gets caught up to by the Shadow Clan, who's trying to recruit him. He's trying to fight them all off, and he's in lieu of trying to get away, he still ends up getting caught. And of course, the second in command, Ball, is trying to feed him this bill of goods here, and obviously, Naruto Spider-Man isn't gonna. Well, he's impressionable at this point in time because these are still high school kids and they go through a lot. So Ball is kind of like taking advantage of a vulnerable kid who doesn't feel wanted. So that says a lot. That you can do a lot with that. Just a child feeling neglected. So in the midst of fighting off all these clan members, and Spider-Man is holding his own. I mean, that's why I'm talking about. Like, he knows how to fight, because OG Spider-Man, he'll probably crack a few jokes, and of course he can beat people or just send them away or whatever. Where I was going with this. he doesn't, normal Peter Parker doesn't do it with any amount of finesse or anything. He's street brawler kind of fighter. You know, uh, Manga Spider-Man, very highly skilled. And while finally dealing with Ball himself, he ends up beating him, and then this Fro disappears. Uh, uh, that kind of thing. I don't know why I say it's like Fro disappears. It's a lot here. Uh, anyway, let me recollect myself. Sorry. Um, so once the Shao Kahn and Ball caught up to Spider-Man, and of course he's in the black suit, and he's trying to warn them, while at the same time the symbiote is feeding off that negative emotions and just like let him uh, lavish in the brutality, and he just comes on top. He was already beat to all these guys by himself, but he's a lot more aggressive. But Ball says, "Oh, you pass," and then starts selling him on this idea of, "Oh, the Shadow Clan is your family now." It's almost very like recruiting in a gang. It's like, "Oh, we're your family now. All the things that you used to know, they're useless." Blah blah blah. But then you get further in the backstory of Aunt May and her sister, and uh, Aunt May's sister's husband, uh, he's getting chastised by his own family and kinfolk for marrying essentially a peasant girl, but and essentially lost any kind of status he had, but he knew who he loves. When they both end up having a son, and then of course they get ambushed by some enemies with bows and arrows. One hits, not one, but several hit, at least a few. I should say a few hit the father, and one arrow caught. And Venom was essentially a baby or toddler or something at that time, and one of those arrows hit him. Of course, he survived, but that the effects from the venom managed to turn his skin a bluish gray hue and grew up to be the venom we know, or at least a variant of the venom we know. And Ame's sister somehow got a hold of this amulet. They start feeding off of her emotions, but she managed to rise above all that. So, and then eventually the amulet was hidden away, hopefully to had never been seen again. But then, of course, you got Norman Osborn, who is running some kind of a clan of his own, or how do I put it? It's kind of like a political rally almost, and he's wearing this very Illuminati type of eyes wide shut kind of situation. He's wearing this purple hoodie, robe, I should say, with this green mask, and he eventually made this blood ritual and become an actual Green Goblin. All while this is happening, it's kind of like very. This part is kind of reminiscent to, in my opinion, like the Blade 2, where Blade's getting like slightly overwhelmed by the amount of vampires. Daredevil is getting completely swarmed by just like a massive army of daredevils, and of course, any what is that? Massive amount of daredevils. Massive amount of like Matt Murdock is surrounded by a massive amount of Shadow Clan members, and uh, it, uh, the comparison I made about the Blade movie was feels like he getting like overwhelmed. I get a feeling of getting just overwhelmed, but he could easily like handle himself. But it's just a numbers game at this point. And of course, he's against May's wishes because he, despite it still being a high school kid, he's like, okay, he's attached to this thing. He's part of this darkness. He's obsessed with like darkness. It's like just like another way of saying sin. But this Matt Murdock has no qualms in taking out alive. This is kind of hardcore manga almost. I don't say hardcore, but you get manga feels, and it's like it's rarely you see like actual true blue kind of moral kind of thing going on. Uh, like like Superman. It's like you expect Spider-Man to have that kind of same ethos, but it's not how he's raised in this universe. And and Daredevil comes from that same stock. I mean, like he has no qualms in taking people's lives. That's why he's just more Devil Hunter, not Daredevil. And the problem I want to address here that I have that's kind of very glaring to me, it's the dialogue in this, well, not even just in this panel, but the the couple of issues detailing Aunt May's backstory in her younger years when because her and her sister was inseparable. She has just been told that, oh, there's this young man named Ben who is seeming like a rising star in like a martial arts community, and he wanted to build his own dojo. And of course, May is supposed to be married off to this guy, but she doesn't like him like that. She wants to be able to choose her own guy. Blah blah blah. And I think it was May who got possessed by the amulet. But the way the writing is, they keep switching the names of the sisters back and forth. I never know, because if it's supposed to be the mother of Venom, then put it that way and keep it consistent. Because if you keep flopping the names, you're talking to what you previously established to be his Aunt May, but call her by her sister's name, then it's like that was all over the place for me. Like I did not care for that. It was like a poor, like I don't know how this got past like the editors, because like who's who. I mean, maybe it's me, but like if you read this, which I highly do recommend you read, this part is so confusing. But you get like at least a slight origin of maybe not the creation of the amulet, but how it was first acquired and why May immediately recognizes it. Uh, uh, Now things, it starts to escalate quickly in among the Spider Clan. A lot of them's getting taken out left and right, not only by Devil Hunter, but also Felicia Hardy, who's coming back with cybernetic enhancements, and of course you got May, which I feel like she really was not needed in this. She just felt like she was just there, and she didn't offer much in her life to warrant for us to be any way interested in. Almost like with the PS4 version of Spider-Man with Aunt May, like she remained consistent. She like you know what I mean. It's like I think that is like one of the best Aunt Mays that we got in pop culture. Uh, then Venom eventually shows up because at this point Peter's in, like, thanks to the encouragement and words from his Aunt May, he lifted this uh, curse off of him, was tied to the knife, not knife, but the amulet. Uh, and Venom shows up saying, like, oh, referencing what happened in the prologue, uh, Peter saved uh, Venom's life. So, in return, to make things even, he sacrifices himself to destroy this amulet so it won't possess any more people. And he ends up turning to like a complete skeleton after that point. Mm, mm. So yeah, it's like Venom and his parents is like kind of had like a definitely got falling out. It's worse than a falling out. He killed his own father, and Venom and Peter here are cousins. It's almost like a spectacular Spider-Man show. In there, Eddie and Peter are, I think, cousins. I think they use the word cousins. They definitely related in that one. Um, Now, after Peter is free from the influence of the symbiote, he goes off to the school to try to help his friends from being attacked by the Green Goblin, who eventually shows up in Green Goblin's uh, uh, lair. Uh, so, yeah, so now there's that. Sorry, my mind's all over the place. Been a long day. Uh, so yeah, he's destroyed the yeah, he destroyed the amulet in the process. But now I kind of like this because almost like a drug, Peter is suffering like major withdrawal syndrome, like almost immediately, because he's laying on the floor, looking extremely malnourished, and all the while, all Peter's friends and Doc Ock eventually peer inside the gymnasium where they think Peter is hiding, but they are surprised by uh, Green Goblin. And of course, Norman, is fighting with these demons who he made a blood ritual with, so that way, uh, uh, well, be, uh, I lost my train of thought, but his purpose is trying to bring back his wife from the dead because he wants his son to have a mother, but he failed to realize that he lost his mother. You're here and you're not being an involved parent. You're threatening to backhand your kids because then they backsassing you, or like they're not trying hard enough. This is kind of stuff that will wreck a lot of kids. I tried hopefully uh uh well I'm about to say something else, but that wouldn't make any sense. Never mind. So you know Peter eventually shows up to save everybody from having Osborn's little impish uh, gremlins from attacking Ock and the other students. Um, of course, he again is but wrecked at first because uh, uh, all these pumpkin bombs is overwhelming Peter, and he gets like a vision from Uncle Ben Sensei, who's telling him about you know learning to listen to his senses. It's almost very reminiscent to Spider-Man Far From Home at the end scene when you finally see Peter get in tune with his spider sense and be able to dodge all that stuff that he can't uh, visibly see. And it's almost kind of like that. He just moves in like just almost like a swaying motion, and just so effortlessly, and it's like really really good. And uh, in the ensuing fight, they find Harry because the students was looking for Harry. They find Harry, and the poor kid is in a bathroom. Which why is a bathroom near the like inside the gymnasium? It's freaking weird. But uh, they find Harry. He's in the bathroom stall, completely high off of pills. He's sitting on the toilet. He's like very luckily he didn't OD, which he could easily have done. The fight stops completely dead. Looking at this, it's almost like, oh, you thought what we was doing was like a like real. This it got super real at this point. He was having like almost like a fun comic book romp that you typically would see, but well, in a sense, it kind of runs parallel because this B plot kind of runs parallel to the A plot. The venom symbiote is like a drug, and Peter was suffering withdrawal syndromes. You see him actually dealing with like, like sunken face and everything like that, and like ripping off that necklace so that way Venom can destroy it. And that's what Dare Hunter, Devil Hunter. I was supposed to say Daredevil Hunter. Devil Hunter was after, so you can destroy it, and also, any darkness. It's almost like he's going turning. It's almost like you're putting like a bit of the Punisher inside this version of Daredevil. Uh, you guys like his like short Reaper bladed weapons was freaking cool looking. I don't know about the metal helmet, this whole Magneto helmet with the horns. I don't know. Maybe some people might like it. I don't know. It's like I don't really much care for the metal helmet. But anyway, they see Harry in the stall, and the fight stops dead. It's like almost putting some sense back into Norman, because you didn't realize that, like, oh my god, like Harry, and then Doc Ock is because Doc Ock's been like an obnoxious like little uh ass, like he's almost behaving almost like J. Jonah Jameson when it comes to Peter Parker, who, by the way, Jameson, we don't see him here, but he's referenced as like the principal of the school. And Octavius here is almost behaving almost similar to what we typically would see in Jameson. Mouthing off at, not mouthing off, but lecturing at his students and Parker, because he gets fed up with Parker's like constant sleeping and outbursts and stuff like that, despite him being like a student in his class. But they see Harry here, and of course along the way, Harry, every once in a while you see his his interaction with his father. And his father not giving, typical with a lot of normal Osborn stories, he's not giving his son the time and attention that he needs. He needs his father. He needs his father to be there. Of course, he's too focused on trying to bring back the mother because he wanted to put. He loves his kid, but he doesn't, have it. It doesn't seem like he's not putting in the effort to doing the actual parenting work. There's some level of nurturing involved, which he doesn't feel like he has that in him. Like, the mother knows how to deal with this. She knows what Harry needs, and like, I need to bring her back. But now he come to realize, like, which has kind of been obvious from the get. That's why I barely kind of touched on it until like the tail end. It's like he should have realized that just because the mother's gone doesn't mean you have to be emotionally gone. You can still be here for him. And so, of course, Octavius comes over, put his hands on Osborn's shoulder, and it's like, I think you need to, I think we need to get an ambulance for your son. And of course, Harry gets some help. Osborn obviously is going to have to be put away. But his little secret ninja group is pretty much almost but dissolved. And uh, of course, Peter also, after he get rid of the suit, he takes down the majority of the Spider Clan, and pretty much almost in a way avenged his uncle, even though it was Venom who did the deed. Venom sacrificed himself to destroy that amulet. Uh, which at the end of the day kind of surprised Peter and showing that, it's almost like in a way with Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi, where in his final moments he did uh he did the right thing and saved the world or the galaxy like he was meant to do all those years ago, and he did it when it counted. Uh, in a way, Venom kind of did the exact same thing here. It's like he may have been like an adversary for the bulk of the his Spider-Man's early adventures, but when the chips were down, he because in a way he not did it out of goodness of his heart. He did it as like a repayment for because Peter saved his life from being killed by. He was in the one-off story against this universe's Incredible Hulk that kind of was rampaging through the city at the time. But again, that's why they went on that field trip to help collect the trash and fix everything up in this science area, this building or whatever like that. Help with the cleanup. And so like Daredevil. I was gonna keep calling Daredevil. I'm not gonna be used with Devil Hunter. He, feels like his mission is avenged, and Elektra can rest in peace. Of course, he's still being stalked by the one surviving this female clan member of the Shadow Clan, who is beat up and bruised. Most of the time, she just hisses at people, but most of the clans is gone. Ball is dead. Uh, Venom is gone, and uh, uh, Peter goes to visit his aunt in the hospital, and of course, because like trying to help, because this is probably like the more active I've seen Aunt May in any of these kind of Spider-Man adventures, where she actually because she actually is kind of like a ninja. She knows some stuff and she tries to help out, but in the end, it's like kind of overtaxing because of her age and everything like that. She doesn't have like the motor skills like that to do some serious stuff, or at least this strenuous stuff without any kind of negative feedback. So, thanks to Felicia, she got her to the hospital. So with some bed rest and less stress, she'll be fine. And then of course, people going to visit Peter at this hospital while he's waiting in the waiting room, and Felicia there, she kisses him, and everybody's just shocked, like, "Oh my God, Parker's getting some!" And woo, the look on everybody's faces, because I would have killed to have been Peter in that moment back in high school, just like having like the hottest, slightly older woman, just playing one on me. That was just like, he's king of the hill, for all through his rest of his high school days. Honestly, I doubt he'll peak here, but you also see like a funny panel where it's like, oh, MJ, which you don't get much from MJ in this adventure. She pops up here and there, but she doesn't really have like a presence like that. But she's sitting there just looking, just obvious jealousy. Like, I don't like that girl. Uh, clearly has some, jealousy. She has like a thing for her, which Felicia kind of give that hint to Peter. It's like, you go look out for that red hair. I think she got a thing for you. And then of course, Peter introduces MJ to his aunt May, and he tells them to like, go on, have some time to yourselves. I'll be fine. And the story ends with like this adventure is done, uh, and a new beginning will arise. I wish we had like. I'm pretty sure there's more adventures in this universe, but I definitely love the manga universe. This is a very tight adventure. Uh, Unlike Spider-Man India, where it seems like they kind of skipped over a certain, or especially it's not just Spider-Man India, but also uh, PS4 Spider-Man story, where it feels like they kind of skipped over certain panels that's kind of crucial to why one minute we're here, the next minute we're here kind of situation. And it feels like we skipped something. Here, this is a good example of it's not only tight and condensed, but nothing feels skipped over. Everything I kind of follow along, and it makes sense from panel to panel. Uh, I love designing here. It's very anime. I can't help but in this, I imagine this version of Peter Parker kind of talks like Naruto, like a little Naruto, because he's a ninja. It's like you gotta put that voice to that. Uh, uh, as far as like the only con that I can think of is uh that situation with the flashback with Aunt May in her younger years and that flip back and forth between the writing. I think there's like a clear error there because it's not, like, okay, who's young Aunt May and who is her sister? And stop switching the names back and forth when you're giving dialogue to one character and another. It's just so confusing to me. I was like, that is probably like weird. Like everything else seems like so on point, uh, except for that. Then there's like the design of Daredevil, which is like, I don't know. I'm iffy with the costume. I've seen other better design variations of the Daredevil costume. I'm not a fan of the helmet personally. It looks, too Magneto-ish to me. It's just Magneto's helmet with a horn, almost with horns. In my mind. Uh, uh, but I mean, like, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Uh, but I am impressed how more active this version of Aunt May is, but more so at the second to last issue. But yeah, I mean, like, I still dug this. I would read a lot more of this world, adventures in this world. Just give me more, man. But definitely highly recommend you check it out. Spider-Man Legend of the Spider Clan. Check it out. Very cool artwork. I think I praise this artwork probably even more so than what I've seen so far. I think I need to once I wrap up like all this stuff, maybe at the end of Spider Verse event, after I cover that for the channel, I will probably have to mention which universe art design that I probably like the most. But I think like manga Spider-Man goes at the tippy top for me, honestly. But anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think of this 5-issue story. And I'm sorry if I feel like my mind was all over the place. I had a long day at work, and like I'm trying to make sure like I'm as focused as possible. I probably should have got some like bit of coffee so I can be a little bit more focused and alert. But I think I got myself collected. I have some movies I want to cover for tonight, as well as a TV show review. But stay tuned. I'll see you guys in a little bit. We're going through these pretty quickly, okay?